Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Eagles franchise and welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft. We are here with the Steelers on the clock, and to start this draft, I gotta tell you that the mock draft told me that the Steelers were not gonna take the quarterback, number 1 overall, that they should have. It's Joe Hart, who is 21 years old, who has won the Heisman, so it's pretty much a surefire hidden dev. And he's an elite athlete at the quarterback position, and the mock draft already gave away that the CPU wouldn't do this. So I created the user for the Steelers, and yeah, elite throw power, elite strength, great acceleration, and solid speed. I created the user so that the Steelers would take the quarterback, and I am going to do that later again because it doesn't make sense that the Bills take a quarterback, but the mock already gave away that they would do. And so that's why I made this draft pick here for the Steelers. Get the hidden dev quarterback at 21 years old, 94 throw power. And yeah, we're going to look at his ratings later, but that's the number 1 overall pick. And then at 2, the Lions picked Sean Stratton, the left tackle out of Arizona State. And then at number 3, this is where Joe Hart would have gone, and that also wouldn't have made sense because Washington has Drew Grooms, a franchise quarterback with an even bigger arm. And yeah, so they go ahead and take Lyle Phelps, and he looks like an absolute monster, and if I had any chance at all to select him, I would have done that. Because this guy looks like an absolute freak. But he goes to our division rivals. And at 4, the Rams take Zach O'Sullivan and get a guard. Their offensive line needs it. That's a good pick. The Broncos go ahead and take Michael Schaffer, who looks like an elite wide receiver prospect, and looks like they got the best one out of this draft. And then at 6, the Packers take Alex Patton, a edge rusher that looks pretty solid too. And then this is where I have to jump in here and make it a user pick, because it doesn't make sense that they take a quarterback when they have a 94 overall Josh Allen. So I take an elite athlete, elite speed, elite strength, great acceleration at the linebacker position, which is their weakest position on the roster, with also B power moves, B hit power, B pursuit, and B awareness, and 21 years old. And he looks like an absolute freak. If I had a chance to select this guy in one of the couple of drafts where I picked Middleton or Chancellor, he's an even better athlete than those two. But yeah. So my strategy for this draft was actually to get a cornerback early, because there is 6 corners on that board in the first round, and after that the drop off is huge, and the Raiders just took a quarterback, which doesn't make any sense. I didn't think they would do that, but I'm gonna switch that around with the next pick, which is Jermaine Hanna, and if I had a chance to take that guy, I would have done that too, because he looks like a little bit less athletic version of Micah Parsons. And there goes the first cornerback, which in my opinion was the weakest one of those 6. And I had 4 cornerbacks that I really liked, and 2 that I also liked but not as much. And one of those was just going there. Mark Werner is an edge rusher we're going to face in the next season, and the Dolphins are going to move on from Tua. So my decision making here implicated that I wanted to take Demonte Burgess from those 6 cornerbacks, because the drop off after the corners is huge, and if you go with the defensive tackle in the first round, then there is no cornerbacks left in the second or third that are worth taking in that range. And there's a lot of defensive tackles in the second and third round that you, or even in the fourth round, that you could still take. And that is why I traded up with the Chargers here, gave up a one of my second round picks this year and a future 3 to move up from 32 to 16, get a 5 in return, and trade up to do this. 16 was a spot because in the mock drafts, Demonte Burgess would go in that range. 16 to 19, that's the 4 spots that he would go to in the mock drafts. And I figured if he went earlier, then I wouldn't have given up that much value. And at 16, I think that's fine value. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about why Demonte Burgess is my guy from those 6 cornerbacks. And yeah, he is the only guy that has 6'1" as in size. He's not the only guy that's 6'1", but he's the only guy that's 6'1", and at the same time is 21 years old. At the same time is the fastest cornerback in this entire draft class according to the 40-yard dash, elite acceleration, great speed, also has great strength. And that is also something, like all of those traits I just mentioned are things that you can't work on. That's something that has to be given. And he's the only one of those 6 cornerbacks that had all those traits at the same time. Because there's another cornerback or like 2, but one of them didn't have the size and the other one didn't have the speed. And so we go with this, and he has normal dev. And that is something that I banked on, because usually the great athletes have hidden dev, and he doesn't. And that is why I was really disappointed when I made this pick. But 94 speed, 94 acceleration, that is fine. I think I would have hoped for a little bit more than that. But well, he is also not the only skill that he really lacks, that is his biggest weakness compared to the other corners, is his ability to intercept passes. It's not great. And he's probably never gonna be somebody that's gonna get a lot of picks. But I think that's fine for now. Now let's talk about these other corners. There was Aaron Hale, who didn't have the athleticism I looked for. And the zone coverage and press abilities were not that great for him. John Foster, by the way, is a defensive tackle I really liked. If I would have gone first round, he would probably have been my choice, or maybe it would have been Tevin Howard. But the other 4 corners are still on the board. No, they're not. Aaron Hale is one of those. He goes to the 49ers, and he was one of 2 corners that I really didn't like all that much. The other one was Stephon Brown, who already went to the Bengals at 11. And then the other 3 corners I actually liked are guys that have some of the traits that Demonte Burgess had as well. And one of them is Raheem Barr, who goes here. He has also the same athletic traits, but he doesn't have the size, and he's 22. So he's a little bit older, and that is why I didn't take him. He's 5'9", so that's not really huge. And I was looking for a little bit more size because we still have Avonte Maddox. I picked up Jalen Gilmore, who has played nicely in the slot. I don't think we need a slot corner in the first round. The next guy is Jeff Lipton. He is 22, so he's a little bit older, and he has elite speed. He has probably the highest speed of those guys, but his acceleration, his change of direction, and his agility is worse. And then the Cowboys take a running back. Useless. And the Chiefs take a quarterback. Useless. And yeah, so that's why Jeff Lipton wasn't really my guy either, but he would have been the guy to go with if you wanted to have the upside with the interceptions. He had the best catching ratings. And then a few picks later, Austin Weber at the beginning of the second round, he goes to the Lions. He would have been my probably number 2 or 3 choice between him and Raheem Barr. Austin Weber does have everything that Demonte Burgess has, but he doesn't have the elite speed, or at least great speed. He had just like a 4.4 40. And still a great corner. I would have taken him as well if Demonte Burgess wouldn't have been on that board. I think him or Raheem Barr would have been great choices too. But yeah. Austin Weber, by the way, is also the only other guy that has that is 21 years old compared to the other 4 corners who are all 22. And now I wanted to trade up again because I was afraid that my 2 favorite defensive tackle options were gonna go away, and that is why I wanted to trade up here get this spot a little bit higher, trade up six picks, and give up 2 6s for it. And the two options that I had were really similar in probable upside and athleticism. One of them was Ty McRae, 6'4", 295, 21 years old. He has A block shedding and A power moves, but he's listed as a right end, which is important because it says good strength here at right end. And I think if he was listed at defensive tackle, that would not have been good strength, just like solid or decent. But he has A block shedding and A power moves. And all of the other ratings except for stamina are A's or B's, so you know already he's gonna be good. On the contrary, James Smith, he's also 21 years old, has also good strength, but he's listed at defensive tackle, and he has elite speed for a defensive tackle and good acceleration. 4.73 40-yard dash, which is the fastest for all defensive tackles. And you already know he's going to be an elite pass rusher from the interior. Power moves and finesse moves, both at an A. C block shedding, not that great, but I think that you can work on that because the pass rushing already has the good starting point. And that is why I selected James Smith, because I knew his talent was round 1. He was going to be like a 75 overall anyway. And I think that he has more strength, which is more important on the inside. And the third reason was that he complements Clay Riley as opposed to Ty McRae, who has more of a similar skill set. And this is kind of sad too, because he also has only normal dev, but at least he's 21 and he still can work for it. And yeah, kind of disappointing here, trading up for 2 guys that turn out to have normal dev, where I would have expected at least one of them to have hidden dev. And yeah, we're gonna move on here. The next player I wanted to get was either Javier Carney or Lionel Rhodes, 2 edge rushers or like outside linebackers with great run stopping upside and maybe pass rush upside. And both of them were listed like to be going at like the beginning of the 3rd round, or like in the middle of the 3rd round, projected middle to late 3rd round. And I knew that one of them was gonna have around 1 to 2 grade, and that was Lionel Rhodes. And I think that Carney was so similar as an athlete and skill set wise, but I didn't know as much about him. So my strategy was to just wait it out and let one go and then trade up for the other. And my next pick was at the end of the 3rd round. And so I just waited it out, and I hoped that maybe we even don't have to trade up all that far, but we'll see. To the end of the 2nd round, there's a lot of players, and this is also where I noticed that the CPU makes or is skipping picks from teams that I was using at some point in this franchise to fix some of the bad draft logic this game still has. And so there were a few picks that were just skipped, and I didn't see who was being taken. And so yeah, that is what is going to happen soon. It already happened, by the way, at the beginning of the 2nd round too, where it just skipped like 3 straight picks to Austin Weber there. But yeah, I thought that Lionel Rhodes had really great upside. But he wasn't the elite speed guy like Javier Carney was. So I wasn't sure which one to take, but I knew that whoever we take is gonna have elite run stopping upside, and that is something that I really needed on this team because that was our biggest weakness on the Super Bowl run. And by the way, Carl Westbrook just went. He was the 7th corner in this draft class, and he was the only other guy that you might be able to take and put on the field and not look horrible in this entire draft class. And he wasn't even a great athlete. So this is where it happened. It just skipped 3 picks, and then I had to look it up. because I didn't see who was taken. And there we can see Javier Carney is not there anymore, but there at 4, Lionel Rhodes is. So Carney's gone, and the pick was going to have to be Lionel Rhodes. Because, yeah, that's the 2 edge rushers I still wanted. Every other edge rusher in this draft class wasn't as interesting to me because they didn't have the speed or the ability in the run defense department. And so I wasn't gonna trade up with the Washington football team, so I just let them pick their guy and they take a corner. That was not worth it. And then I traded up with the next team and I tried to make it this one. I would have added a lot more picks than that, and I knew they probably weren't gonna take this deal. And so this is what I did. I had to somehow put in more picks there because we have had given up our 4 in the last draft to trade away. And so what I did is take our 3 7s, and we still had 3 6s, by the way. That was the rest of the remaining slate. We had 1 5, 3 6s, and 3 7s. I traded up, or I looked at a draft value chart, added up those 3 picks that I had in the 7th round, and looked up, okay, which one was the pick to trade up to, and offered the Steelers this pick. And then I took the 2 6s I still had. I think we did not have 3 6s because we gave up 2 of them in that other trade up in the 2nd round. But added those 2 together, got up in the 4th round, and now I have a 4 and a 5 that I was able to offer to the LA Rams to make that thing happen. And yeah, I had to do a lot of trading there just because it's just stupid that we can only add 3 things into a trade from both sides. And so they take this trade up for, I think that's 26 spots, and trade up to the start of the 3rd round and draft our guy Lionel Rhodes. And you can see why I wanted to pick him. A block shedding, B pursuit, A tackling. And that's it. And also player notes, always looks for the massive hit. That is something that we also need because we have not the best turnover defense. And yeah, he has good speed and good acceleration, but the main thing is he has great strength. And that's something that we are lacking kind of in the run defense department here. And he has also A awareness and A play rec, and his talent is rounds 1 to 2. And he has B power moves and C finesse moves. So he has even a huge upside in the pass rushing game. So we can do that too with him. The only downside to him is F injury. So he is never going to be on the field 100% of times because he would get injured. And we strike out again. It's normal dev once again. And yeah, that was this draft class, because after this one, we didn't have any picks left anymore. That was all the picks we had. And I can tell you already that I wasn't gonna do anything about it because I knew that there is nobody else left in this draft class I need to get. And the only other guy I was interested in was Taj Thomas, a defensive tackle that later went to the Washington football team, but he's a pure nose tackle. So that wasn't all that interesting. And yeah, that's our draft. That's everything we needed. A corner, a defensive tackle, and an edge rusher. And I think that the overalls are okay. I think we're going to be fine. It's just sad that nobody of those guys had hidden dev. First up, DeMonte Burgess. We already knew that he was going to be a great athlete, but now let's look at his ratings. 73 press, 72 zone, 70 man. I think that's a good starting point. I'm happy with that. It's not elite or anything, but I think that his athleticism and him being 21 years old really matter the most in this decision. And that's the stuff that you can't train. That's the stuff that you need to have. And the other corners didn't have it. So that's why I took him. James Smith, 74 overall, so he's the highest dev we could have gotten, and also normal dev. Kind of disappointing, but yeah, he's going to be the next guy up next to Alonzo McFadden. While in run defense, it's not going to be him, it's going to be Clay Riley from that first draft class. He's in his 4th year. And he has 87 strength, he has 83 power moves, and 74 finesse moves. So that's already a great starting point. 72 block shed, it's not all that great, but I think you can work on it and make it a little better by year 2. And he's not injury prone either, just like Demonte Burgess isn't. And then Lionel Rhodes, just about looked at him. He's 22 years old. He's a rookie out of Vanderbilt, and he's a little bit light, 239 to be a full-time edge rusher, but I'm gonna keep him at linebacker. He's just gonna be a run defender primarily, and then maybe he's gonna do some blitzing. He has 87 acceleration, so there's great get off there. 73 power moves, 63 finesse moves, so you can still work with that, and 80 block shedding. That's the most important thing. 80 block shedding, 78 pursuit, 79 tackling. His zone coverage is not great and is never going to be, and I'm not going to work on it because it's a waste of time. But yeah, he's going to be a run defender. And even though it says his style is he has a coverage linebacker style, no, he doesn't. He's a pass rusher, and I'm going to work on that. He is going to be on the field probably half the time, I guess, as a 4-3 outside linebacker and a nickel pass rusher, probably. And yeah, he's injury prone, 81 injury. It's not as bad as you could have imagined it would be. Let's look at the draft class. Number 1 overall, Joe Hart. Already talked about him. Hidden dev, 94 throw power, 82 break sack, 81 speed, 88 acceleration, and high 70s accuracies. Looks great. Number 2 overall, that was a huge reach by the Lions. 6'7", 324, 22 years old, out of Arizona State. At least he has hidden dev. But his ratings are not great. He is just an average tackle prospect. Wouldn't have taken him. And then the Washington football team takes Lyle Phelps. 77 overall, 92 strength, 83 acceleration, 77 power moves, 76 finesse moves, and 78 block shedding. Looks like an absolute monster. If you wanted him, yeah, he's your guy if you wanted a defensive tackle. The Rams take Zach O'Sullivan, who also is a reach, just like Stratton. 90 strength at least, so that's not bad, but his pass protection is kind of awful. And then Michael Schaffer, the best player in the entire draft class, can tell you that already. 79 overall is the highest you could get, and he looks like an elite receiving threat with great route runnings across the board as a rookie, as already. Great catching ratings, 90 jumping, 93 speed. And then the Packers take Alex Patton, who is going to be an edge rusher for them. And he is kind of raw. He might have a nice athleticism here, a nice weight, speed, strength combo. But his ratings, his skills are not that developed. And then Sheldon Briscoe, he was the linebacker I picked for the Bills. And yeah, he looks solid. He looks so great. He looks a lot better than even Deacon Chancellor and Mike Middleton when I picked them. And then this is the place where I had to do a manual trade because this guy is going to play for the Falcons. He was projected there a couple times in the mock draft, and he's going to be a Falcon. And he has decent athleticism and good accuracies. This is the guy who I traded him with, Jermaine Hanna, and I love this guy. Great athleticism. It's not as elite as Micah Parsons is, but 81 finesse moves, 70 block shedding, and 63 zone coverage. He can do it all, just like Micah Parsons. This is the guy to get, man. Only normal dev for him, though. And then another reach on a tackle, and this time it's the Titans, who take a 89 strength tackle, and he has kind of average ratings. The first cornerback up is Stephon Brown, 6 feet, 186, 22 years old, Southern Miss, hidden dev. He gets hidden dev, Demonte Burgess doesn't. But he is horrible at press and not even good on man. He is just a pure zone coverage corner and doesn't have great athleticism, and that is why he was, from those 6 cornerbacks, the lowest rated for me personally. The Giants take Mark Werner, hidden dev, really good athlete, 87 strength, 81 acceleration, 80 block shedding. He has not great pass rush moves. PJ Albert at 13 goes to the Dolphins. He looks really solid. 89 throw power, solid accuracies across the board, and the best quarterback speed on the class. 88 speed, 88 acceleration, 90 change of direction. This guy's a dual threat if you've ever seen one. And then at 14, the Colts take an edge rusher, Wendell Crowther, and never really had my eye on him. I think it's probably because he only has one good pass rush move. It's the finesse moves, and block shedding is also not great. And then the other great linebacker from the first round, Dante Alexander. He looks good, not as good as Sheldon Briscoe though. He has a little bit better coverage, but his run stopping is not as great, and he's not as good of an athlete. John Foster is an absolute monster. 94 strength, 80 block shedding, 70 power moves, 71 finesse moves. And if you need a mid-first round defensive tackle, he was the guy to get. Or maybe it was Tevin Howard, because 309 pounds, 6'5", 86 acceleration, and 86 strength, combined with 79 block shedding and 74 power moves. Those were the 2 mid-round guys I would have attacked if I wouldn't have gone corner in the first round. Aaron Hale, the 3rd cornerback off the board. He doesn't have the great athleticism I was looking for, and his zone coverage abilities are not great. He's good in press though, and but that was the reason why I wasn't. Raheem Barr, he was the guy I would have taken if he was 6'1". He was absolutely the guy to get if he was 6'1", but he's 5'9". He has great athleticism. He has even better press and zone abilities compared to Burgess. His man sucks, but it doesn't matter because that was not what I was looking for. Barr was the guy to get, and he has hidden dev, but he's only 5'9". And Jesse Saunders would have been the quarterback I would have taken in the pre-draft process if I was going to get a quarterback, because he has good speed, elite acceleration, and good accuracy ratings, 91 throw power. Yeah, that's what I would have gone with. So we have now seen 4 corners, and 3 of them have hidden dev, and the only one who doesn't is Demonte Burgess. Now we're gonna look at the next corner after hidden dev once again. He also has hidden dev. 6'2", 22 years old, 95 speed, but his agility is not great. His change of direction and his acceleration are just like barely average. And that's why I didn't get him. And then, a running back for the Cowboys, Adonis Jefferson, 5'11", 195, 22 years old, out of Texas Tech. Wow, he looks great. He is the other best player. He's the other 79 overall player in this draft class. Him and Schaffer are the 2 best prospects you could have gotten. Tyson Langford for the Chiefs. Maybe they are already afraid that Mahomes is going to retire because, they took him at 30 overall, 92 throw power, good accuracies, and 88 throw on the run already. That's looking great. He also has good speed. And then Justin Brown, who would have probably been my running back if I were to take one in the first round, and he has the great athleticism, 88 change of direction, 84 juke, 77 spin. George Henry, who also looks like a great running back, 5'8", 214, looks like a monster, 93 speed at that weight, with paired with 79 trucking, 76 stiff arm, 84 juke move, 81 spin move, and 80 break tackle. Unbelievable stuff. Austin Weber, the last cornerback, and he also has hidden dev. So I managed to take the only normal dev corner out of those 6'1". And he has even better athleticism than I would have thought. But yeah. Weber and Barr are the two cornerbacks that I probably should have considered even more than Burgess if I would have known that, but I didn't, and so that's what happened. Malachi Steele, great linebacker pickup for the football team, and they need him. That was a great pick. One of the top 5 picks in this draft came in the second round by the Rams with John Bush, elite athlete with 86 spec catch, 81 catching, 76 traffic catch and traffic, and he has even great abilities after the run. And then Ty McRae, considered him, didn't pick him, went with James Smith, and he has hidden dev. And I think I made the wrong choice there. And then another guy I was looking at, Javier Carney, only has normal dev, so I got a little bit more lucky on that. But yeah, he also looks pretty solid. He doesn't have the pass rush upside. That's why Lionel Rose was my favorite in the first place. And now we're gonna look at the draft classes around the league. And first up, the divisional rivals. We have the Cowboys taking a running back that they don't need, a cornerback that is barely average, and a nice center prospect. And then just a few not as important pieces there down the list. Micah Foster was a guy I really liked. If I had a 7th round pick to just throw away, he would have been my guy, because he has great speed, 92, 93 acceleration, 92 agility. He looks solid. And let's go to the football team. Great draft. They pick up Lyle Phelps, an interior guy with elite upside. They pick up a linebacker in the second round, and Malachi Steele, who looked really solid too. And then they pick up a corner that was looking better than I thought he would, but 91 speed. I mean, it's average. And then they come back and take the defensive tackle that I would have taken if I missed out on both of those guys here, James Smith and Ty McRae. If I would have missed out on both of them, I would have taken this guy. 72 overall in the 4th round, 21 years old, out of Nevada. He has only normal dev, but it's not all that surprising, I think, because he's just a pure nose tackle. Nothing more, nothing less. You could maybe try to get him up there with the power moves, but his finesse moves are going to be crap for his entire career. He's just not great at that. And he's not a great, he doesn't have a great first step or anything. He's just a great run stopper, and we already have that skill set in Clay Riley. So I think we're fine not picking him up. I think James Smith is still a better option than him. And then down the list, there is a couple more players, but Washington had a really fun and exciting draft for the defensive side of the football. They only picked up one offensive player in this entire draft class. And then the Giants, they pick up Mark Werner, who is a nice edge rusher, and I really liked him too. They pick up a running back in the 2nd round, completely useless pick, but he looks really solid. And then a receiver in the 3rd round. That was kind of a weaker draft class, you've got to admit. But all in all, I think our divisional rivals are strong this year again. They have solid rosters. And this is going to be a battle for this division again. This is the Falcons draft recap, but they didn't pick Jermaine Hanna because I switched him around with Glenn Inzerma, the quarterback. So they get a quarterback, they get a 72 overall tight end, they get a 73 overall center, and another defensive tackle prospect I looked at but didn't think he was gonna be elite. He wasn't gonna be as good as James Smith. And he was 23 years old. So he was kind of an older rookie, which was a thing that I didn't like all that much. And you already knew that he was just going to be a one-dimensional player here with the power moves. And he isn't even a great athlete, just a good athlete. So Bradley Pearson is, yeah, a Falcon now. But would have been a 4th round pick to make if like we missed out on everybody, including Taj Thomas. And then the rest of the draft class is not that exciting. And then we have the Packers draft class, and they did something special too here. They picked up Alex Patton. They picked up a 76 overall running back in the 2nd round, and they picked up a guard, 73 overall in the 3rd round. And then in the 4th round, they come back, get a 69 overall safety, and then the best value in the entire draft class, 5th round tight end Josh Irons, who is, in my opinion, he has hidden depth first of all, but I think, yeah, he's gonna be a good tight end. He's never gonna be a great one because he's not an elite athlete. He's just an average tight end who happens to be a little bit more refined than the other tight ends in the draft class. And the Seahawks also had a great draft. Get Dante Alexander in the 1st round. They come back in the 2nd, get a 71 overall receiver that looks solid. And then another one of the great pickups, the 3rd best player in the entire draft class, went middle of the 3rd round, Cole Flaherty, a center, looking really good. So Flaherty and Josh Irons, the tight end, those are the 2 best value picks of the entire draft class. And then finally, the Denver Broncos had a nice draft. They get the best player in the draft at 5 overall, and Michael Schaffer. They get a more than solid tight end in the 2nd round. And because that's not enough offense, they go and get a tackle. 75 overall, Alani Burns, hidden dev tackle, 6'5", 314, 22 years old, out of Louisville, and he looks more than solid. He has no ratings at all because I didn't manage to click to that page. No, I did. 89 strength and mid 70s at least for every rating that is on here from the core attributes. And then elite run block power. So he's going to be one of the best tackles in the league. I'm sure of that. And then in the 6th round, they also get a 69 overall receiver that looks kind of promising. So yeah. But other than that, that were the draft classes for the other teams, for like the good draft class. Let's take a look at our final roster for the preseason. We have Christian Landry, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the game right now. We have a backup in Howie Flanagan and a 3rd player here in Alex Martinez, which is kind of fine. Then we signed Joe Mixon in the offseason to a big deal. 2 years, $30 million with great athleticism coming with it. I'm really excited about our running game for the next season. Matt Upshaw, the backup or slash receiving back here to complement Joe Mixon with his great athleticism. And then just a few backups that were on the practice squad for a long time. Jalen Hodges was one of them. I liked his upside as a breaking tackles guy. And then Stefan Sullivan and Montre Wakefield had the good speed I liked. And then I signed from the UDFA pool Jamie Bennett, 5'11", 235 out of Boise State. He's only 22 years old. And I really like his weight speed combo. 235 and he still has 90 speed. He has 82 trucking, 79 stiff arm. He looks like he has huge upside as a power back, but his carrying rating is not great to say the least. 67 break tackle is also not great. But I like his upside as a power back. And then for receivers, whoever know what we're talking about here. Devontae Smith, Mitch Slaughter, Doug Washington, and Justin Douglas are the 4 guys to see this season. We have still Eli McLaughlin as our 5th receiver, but he's gonna have to fight for his spot in the preseason. And then I signed back Dakota Howell in the after the draft because I liked his upside. Bobby Saunders was signed in free agency. And then I picked up a couple rookie receivers from the UDFA pool. Jamie Boston, 6'1", 184. So that's kind of a Devontae Smith vibe. He has 92 speed, 92 acceleration, great catching ratings, solid route runnings except for medium. And 75 release is also not that bad. 81 juke, 76 spin, 76 change of direction. He can do something when he gets the ball. And that's what I like about him, and that's why I signed him. He's gonna fight for a roster spot. And then Davon Springs, 6'1", 199. He's an older rookie at 24 years old. Also normal dev. He has 91 speed, 93 acceleration, good catching ratings, and I think he's not as great as Jamie Boston is as a prospect, but he has 90 change of direction, so he might be a little bit more shifty, even though he's a bigger guy. And I mean, he's 24 years old. I guess that Jamie Boston is probably gonna have the better chances on staying on the roster, and this guy is probably gonna get practice squatted. But we're gonna see that in preseason. Tight ends, we have brought back Thaddeus Moss in free agency. We have Nolan Graham with his great athleticism, and then our long snapper. I will bring in another tight end, but I probably will do it after preseason because guys are gonna get cut. And then our offensive line is looking exactly the same as last year. Sean Keaton at left tackle, Cam Robinson at left guard. With the backup there in Farrell, we have a center in Easton Young. We have Chris Haas at right guard, 2nd-year guy. His backup, or any interior line spot's backup, is going to be Landon Dickerson, who we signed last season to a 1-year deal, I think. And then Travis Maynard is going to be the right tackle. His backup is going to be DeAndre Lucas. For the defense, we have Dalvin McCall and Alex Soto. This is going to be a battle in preseason. They're going to have to battle it out for this spot at left end. Johnny Bridges brought him back after the draft because he was not signed in free agency. And I liked his backup role. And then Jonathan Rivera is the only edge rusher that's going to be, fixed. And there's a lot of backups. We brought back Bradley Middlebrooks. I brought in D'Angelo Good, 22 years old, 6'4" to 70, rookie out of Utah. Does not have hidden dev, but he has a great first step, 87 acceleration, and 77 finesse moves. So I think he's going to be a nice backup in like 3rd down situations if we need one. And I would say he probably is a great complementary edge rusher to Lionel Rhodes, because those guys, yeah, he's good at the only thing that Lionel Rhodes is not great at. And then I also brought in another UDFA, and his name is Nico Guerrero, and he also, yeah, he's an older guy, 23 years old. He also doesn't have hidden dev, and he also is a speed rusher. So I'm probably between him and D'Angelo Good. Only one guy is making the roster, maybe even none of those guys. But they have kind of a similar skill set. Nico Guerrero, though, is not the same athlete. He doesn't have the same first step. I think that D'Angelo Good has a better chance of staying on the roster than Nico Guerrero does. And then I brought back Jamal Richardson because he got signed away from our practice squad last season, and I just saw him after the draft sitting there, and I went in and picked him up again. I liked his starting point at block shedding there, 68, not horrible, and he has 77 finesse moves already. So maybe he's a guy to watch out for as well. Defensive tackles, I think we're set for the season. McFadden is going to be the starter no matter what. Clay Riley is going to be the starter in base personnel, and James Smith is going to be the starter in nickel packages. Harvey McNeil is just a backup. He doesn't have the speed, the acceleration, or the strength I'm looking for. And also not the skill set I'm looking for either, because he is not the best power moves guy, he's not the best finesse moves guy, and also not the best block shedding guy. Linebackers, we have Lionel Rhodes and Tyler Stokes on left outside linebacker duty. Both of those are similar athletes, and Rhodes is the better run blocker. For the middle, we have Mike Middleton and Deacon Chancellor. Those two guys are going to be the linebackers in nickel packages, and the third linebacker in base is going to be Lionel Rhodes. Coco Washington is going to be a backup for these for nickel packages. Cornerbacks, we have Chris Madden, Avonte Maddox, JC Horn, Demonte Burgess. Those four guys are going to have to make up the starting three. And then we have a couple nice backups here in Kevin Bonds and Jalen Gilmore. Bonds is going to be a backup for the outside, and Gilmore is going to be the backup for Avonte Maddox, and he's also going to start in dime packages. So he's going to see the field no matter what. He did last season, and he's good at it. And then our safeties are the same as last year, no change there, and still same kicker, same punter. That's our team. And as you can see, we gave up a 3 for the next draft to trade up here for Demonte Burgess, so that's what we're missing, but there's probably not going to be another draft either way. And that's the draft. That was a really quick episode that usually doesn't happen, because I love the draft and I love making like 15 draft picks in one draft, but this time around just made 3 picks, and we have to make them count, because those are the 3 guys that are going to have an impact on this defense from day one, after losing Fletcher Cox, Von Miller, and Dante Jackson. And so that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Eagles franchise. See you in the next episode. Until then, spread some love.